Hey guys, welcome to the Gods Unchained beta with the TheProfesserf. Alright, it's time for a Monday Mythic meta for the ranked weekend event that ran on March 11th, 12th, and 13th. Let's take a look at our results. Here's a list of our top players. We have 4 players with 24 wins. We can say they had a magical weekend. We have several other players in the top 10 with 23 wins, all tied. We'll have to see when the official results come out who gets officially 9th, 10th, and 11th place. Let's go into more details. All right, we can see the top 10 was dominated by Magic, Aggro. And what we're calling Aggro Magic is the Tempo Burn Draw Magic, which you all probably saw this weekend. All right, for all of you that was wondering how do we beat Board Wipe Death during the ranked weekend, the answer is Aggro Magic. In our top 20, 19 of our top 20 players played the Magic deck, and we have 1 player that broke into the top 20 with Nature. All the other gods were not in the top 20. Our top Magic deck managed 24 wins. The best Nature deck managed 23 wins. The best War deck I found managed 22. The best Death deck had 21 wins. The best Deception deck had 20 wins. And the best Light deck I found had 19 wins. So for our deck types, as you know, Aggro Magic dominated, so there was 18 players in our top 20 that played an Aggro deck, and 2 players played Control. Let's look at our top decks in more detail. So our top Magic deck managed 24 wins. This one's the Aggro Magic deck with the Mage Bolt God Power. You've seen this list before, and the only notable cards that I will talk about that had changed is the first one is Corralis Rune Moth. This one was increased from a 3 mana 1/1 to a 3 mana 1/3. It still generates a rune at the end of the turn that costs 0, so now with the added health, it's a stronger presence on the board. Another change is Crystal Rain was reduced from 5 mana to 4 mana. So now it's a very cheap removal at 4 mana, doing 2 damage to every enemy creature. Worm Breath was increased from 4 mana 5 damage to now 4 mana 6 damage. And the biggest change of all is the Laylord Hatchling. This is an 8 mana 3/3 that has his mana cost reduced every time the turn changes. It has a roar effect of doing 4 damage either to a creature or your opponent's face. So I've been able to play this as early as turn 3. Another card that changed that is optional in this deck is Porphyrion. It is now a 5 mana 5/5. It has Ward, and at the end of their turn, it increases your opponent's god power by 2. Our top Nature deck managed 23 wins. This one's a Control Nature deck with the Selena's Mark god power. Notable cards in this deck is there's 2 copies of the Veil Warden Minotaur. This one was recently buffed. It is still a 5 mana 5/5. However, the Afterlife effect now heals your god for 3 and automatically adds a random 7 mana wild creature to your hand. This gives you more options later in the game when you reach 7 mana. And the Sage of Renewal was nerfed. It now only gives you a roar effect that gives you 2 mana and then lets you delve 2 mana worth of spells. Previously it was 4 mana and 4 mana worth of spells. The best war deck I found was an aggro deck with the Slayer god power. This deck really focuses on your relic and your relic damage. You have 1 copy of I Need a Weapon. It pulls a relic from your deck and gives it +1/+1. The only relic on your deck is the Sides of the Harvest. Once you have a relic equipped, you could boost the attack with Whetstone, giving it +4 strength. You can then also combo it with Lead the Charge. If you have a relic equipped, you're able to set the strength of your creatures equal to the relic. And as you can see, this deck takes advantage of wide creatures. You have the Card Shark, Viking War Maiden, and the Blood Guard. You have lots of 1 health creatures that combos with Out of His Misery. And also, while you're waiting for your Sites of the Harvest, you have creature that generates a relic like Valka's Captain and Leviathan Hunter. The best Deception deck I found managed 20 wins. This one's an aggro Deception deck with Orpheus Distraction for the god power. You have your standard early cards from Deception like Patient Pickpocket, Stone Skin Poison, Armor Lurker. Notable addition in this aggro deck is you have 2 copies of Cutthroat Insight, and you have 2 copies of the Reflection Elementalist. The best Death deck I found managed 21 wins. This one's the Control Death deck with the Blood Ritual god power. This one's your Board Wipe Death version. You have your stalls with the Siren of the Grave, Sulfuric Rain. One notable addition is you have 1 Necroceptor. This allows you for some heals with the zombies it generates, and also eats relic removal from your opponent, saving your Neferu's Khopesh for later. You have your usual mass removal cards like Neferu, Reap, Apocalypse Now, End Times, Stalls with Demogorgon, and your endgame win conditions with Hippocrates Monster and Polyhymnia. The best light deck I've found managed 19 wins. This one's a mid-range light deck, very close to an aggro version with the Summon Acolyte God Power. Things you'll notice is that it's missing the usual 3 mana cards like Light's Levy and Radiant Dawn. Instead, this deck relies on Order. So you have 1 copy of Censure. It gives Order +3 to 2 enemy creatures. You have 1 relic, the Writ of Law. It gives Order +8 to an enemy creature. And you have the Inquisitor format and the Watchful Hound. So the way this deck plays is you look to go aggressive really early on, leaving your opponent's creature on the board, and instead putting them out of play with Order cards. You build up your board, and then you look to hit your buff cards like Prayer of the Desperate, which gives your creatures with strength of 2 or less +2/+2, or Protective Benediction. So you're looking to go wide and hit your wide board with buffs, or you could also go tall and spread your buffs on 1 creature with Canonize, and you also have an alternate big creature at 6 mana with the Archpriest of Parthene. The Archpriest of Parthene gains +1/+1 for each point of order that's on the board. Alright, taking a look at our weekend snapshot at the Mythic level, we can see that 38% of the meta played a Magic deck, coming in with a 57% win rate. Magic had a positive win rate across all the gods, very dominating. The next highest win rate was Death, however it's a very low representation. The next most popular gods were Nature and War, also at a 45 to 46% win rate only. Nature was positive across all the other gods, however, it had a very low win percentage versus Magic, and with Magic having a high representation, Nature's win rate suffers. And as usual, we have Light at the bottom with the lowest win rate and the lowest representation. Updating our scoreboards with results from last week, we can see that H. Payne has widened his lead. He is now more than double from second place, breaking $1,000 in money earned. We have 3 new entrants, 40till5, Dame Cabeza and Jaldo FDFX, coming in at 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then we have 2 new additions, Siggy at 23 and Holden at 26. Alright, so here's the list of our top players again. Congratulations on a magical weekend. Good luck on your prizes when you receive them later this week.